Hey guys, how are you guys doing? I wanted to check in because I'm a little bit in limbo right now with what kind of videos I'm gonna do because I have big plans. I have something to talk about, but I do have big plans. Like once I moved, I really want to kind of revamp. I want to say revamp the way I've been doing videos, but I don't know if I should say revamp or just kind of dive in and do things that I maybe have wanted to do for some time and I've talked about doing or I've done in kind of makeshift ways. But I'm going to be moved in, as of today, it's going to be about a week, like just over a week. And I wanted to talk about something that I haven't really mentioned here before. I kind of talked about it in one of my videos, but I want to talk a little bit about, I want to go in a little bit deeper of it. So, and right now, a lot of what I'm going to talk about is moving because that's what's going on in my life right now, but once I'm moved, I do want to get settled into new routines. And I want to talk to you guys about some of the plans that I have. But before I do that, I'm going to like film this and I'm going to get a shower and come back because I'm really going through it right now. Honestly, like I did not expect this, but I am very sad. It's, it's hit me that I'm going to move, and this has been my home for 14 years. And I don't want to like cry in every video, but honestly, I mean, I was talking to a few neighbors, a few days ago, and I was talking to another one tonight, and it's like I almost am like tearing up when I'm like talking to them, because I knew I was gonna miss this place, but I thought that I was just so ready that the excitement would outweigh any sadness, But I think that's like I think that this is actually kind of a common thing when moving. I think that this is kind of a common thing. Um, I've read about it online, and there are other people who do go through this. So I do take comfort in the fact that this is kind of like a natural process and almost an expected process. I don't think everyone goes through it to this extent, but it is common. It has been unexpectedly hard. I don't want to dwell on this too much because the way that I overcome this is thinking about the things to come and getting excited about that. So I'd rather focus on that, and that does help me feel excited and look forward to it. But my thing too is I found a condo, and then I kind of explained this, so I don't want to bore you, but just for context, I didn't want to close right away because I was trying to line it up when my rent would be, so I wouldn't be paying like double rent and a mortgage and all that in the same month. And so I was able to do that, but part of the way that I did that is I found a place, and then I tried to push my close date out to like a later date. Like I found a place in January and I'm closing in March, so there's over a month gap. And I think that that's kind of a long time to have found a new place and then still be in your own place. Not that that's like unheard of, and I'm sure there's cases where it's longer than that, but it's kind of sad because I feel like if I move sooner, the new would replace the old, you know what I mean? And the new would replace the old. I think there still would be some sadness, but especially when actually moving, but I don't think that I would have to sit with it as much as I am now, because I think my hope is once I get to the new place, I know this place is going to be new. I know I need to get my stuff in there, not just get my stuff in there, but I need to make it my own. You know what I mean? One of the reasons why I am attached to this place, even though it's not always been the nicest place and whatnot, but one of the reasons why I'm so attached to it is because, well, A, I'm used to it. Our minds love what is familiar, and I've made it my own. Like over time, I've replaced all the light bulbs that might have been like a cool, like medical hospital, like bright, cool white, like cold white. I've replaced all of them with like soft, warm lights. And that's just like one example, you know what I mean? And other things like that. And I didn't even do that consciously. I didn't set out one day to say, oh, I'm going to change all the light bulbs out for soft, warm light. I just automatically kind of did that. And it just, little things like that, like that's not the only thing, just like the way I move furniture, the way I do this, the way I hang pictures, and that's happened over time. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so attached to this place, is because it's four walls. I mean, I have more than just four walls, but it's like four walls, and I've made it my own. And I'm feeling better now than I was even feeling earlier. But I don't want to dwell on this, but I have been like, it's actually a grieving process, you know what I mean? And again, I don't think everyone goes through this. Like, I know some people who moved a lot, and they don't go through this each time. I mean, sometimes it's like fun to move. It's fun to like, nestle in and get a new home and whatnot. And I think it will be. I sure hope it will be, I mean, I picked this place for a reason, I mean, it's a cute place, you know what I mean? It's a cute place. Um, I mean, money wise, it's going to be more, but it is going to be more, but and that's another thing too, like moving. It's like all these things I'm feeling, I do take comfort in the fact that per the internet searches, like all of my sadness and my fears are natural. You know what I mean? It's like a normal expected thing. It's not like a one-off thing for me. So I do take a lot of comfort in that. Like money wise, it's always going to be a little scary, especially if you're buying a place and then, you think of like, I don't want to get too much into it, but you got to plan for, if you actually need to fix something or like pay to get it fixed, and um but money wise, the budget is actually working out better than I maybe thought it would. You know what I mean? Because I've cut a lot out. Like I've cut a lot of fixed expenses out. Like, and I've mentioned this before, but like I got rid of cable, which I still kind of have cable because I have the Spectrum app and it lets me watch TV how I would watch TV before. Maybe I don't have all my channels, but I've just left it on one channel. I just like to have the TV on, even if it's the news. Not that watching the news all the time, oh, excuse me, that can kind of drag you down maybe, but that background noise, that familiarity, you know what I mean? That kind of gives me what I need, so, but I cut the bill of cable. I'm like, I'm kind of like having my cake and eating it too, because I still kind of have cable and I have internet and I watch, even when I was paying like a lot of money for cable, I would watch YouTube way more than cable. I've cut out a lot of subscriptions. My mortgage payment itself isn't too bad. Like the price of the place, it's not like a crazy expensive place or anything like that. I mean, it's a condo, so that does kind of help keep the cost lower. But there is an HOA. That's the thing. It's like sometimes with a house, you know, I don't know. Maybe it kind of evens out. I don't want to get too much into it, but um, with a house you don't have the HOA, but then generally houses are more expensive, and then they might require more. Anyway, I don't want to get into all that kind of. I've been thinking about all that a lot, and I don't want to. I've been thinking about that enough. I want to like take a break from thinking about that tonight, um but I've cut the amount of bills that I've cut out from my reoccurring fixed expenses, not even talking about just being careful at the grocery store. That more than covers what my HOA is going to be. So, I feel good about that because the mortgage number, it's the actual number for the mortgage is not, I mean, it is more than what I'm doing now, but that's like not the scariest number in the whole world. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, it is more, but that's like doable. So I think when I look at the big numbers and I don't consider like what I've cut out and what I've done to accommodate for that, like it can look like, oh my gosh. But I was like looking at my books today, like my books. I sound like a an accountant or something, but I do. I mean, I'm not to brag, but I'm very good with money. Like at least, I mean, I have historically overspent, so I'm not denying that. I've been so much better about that lately, which I think that's probably also a very common thing when you are right about to move, right about to buy, is you get very like you don't spend like anything, you know what I mean, other than like basic groceries and stuff. But that's actually been kind of fun, and I kind of want to dive into that a little bit more on my channel, but maybe I'll talk about that more later on. But um I looked at my books. I'm like, okay, it is, like it's like I'm gonna be okay. I was talking with a counselor actually, and I don't like talk to counselors or therapists or anything regularly, but recently I was talking to someone and I'm like, it's actually going to be like surprisingly. I know there's always unexpected stuff. There's like stuff like that with anything in life, and I don't want to let my mind go to that right now. I'm not sticking my head in the sand, but anyway, it's when I go over the budget, the numbers are like, okay, this is actually, even though the initial number looks very scary compared to my number now, it's actually not that outrageous when you consider everything. Like, it's actually like, okay, I'm actually still doing pretty okay. You know what I mean? So I watched a video on this one woman, who talked about buying houses and like kind of the panic that sets in. She's like, you just have to keep going back over your budget, keep going back over your numbers, and like reassuring yourself. So I've been kind of doing that with myself, and I just did my numbers tonight, and just try to kind of get a little bit ahead on some things. And anyway, so I feel okay about that. It is going to change the way that I'm spending. It's going to make me a lot more intentional. Like, I'm still going to shop. That's still important to me. You know what I mean? But I would say I can make a whole video about this, honestly. And I want to get this off my chest, and then I want to get my shower and I want to come back and talk to you guys. I think I might show you a meal that I ate a few nights ago too, just so that this video has a little something extra in it. But what was I saying though? Like, I still want to shop, even though right now I'm just like, okay, I'm like no spend mode until after I close. Once I get settled, you know what I mean? I feel like once I get settled and my nervous system realizes, okay, this is safe. Like, once I have a few months where I've been there and I've like paid the bills, like my sister just bought a house and she's like, the number is, you do get used to paying it. You know what I mean? So I think some of it's like a little bit of a psychological thing too. I mean, it is a numbers thing. The numbers do have to work out, but if the numbers work out, it can still psychologically, you can be like, okay, because I will say over the past few years, I have shopped a lot, probably not even as much as some people have, but I know I've gone over budget and overspent with shopping. I'm not even saying that I necessarily regret that 100%. There are some times where I'm like, okay, I probably could have pulled back, but I did spend a lot. But actually, I would say the majority of what I've purchased, especially like the bags and stuff, I do feel good about. I kind of think I had my little season in life with shopping to be kind of like throw caution to the wind. Like, I'll still shop, but I'm going to be way more intentional. Like, I have a bag fund, and I've been putting a little money in it, just like each time I get like paid or money or whatever, I have different buckets and I allocate money towards those things. It might be $5, it might be $10, it might be, I have funds like, I might have mentioned this before, like, okay, I would like to maybe go on a trip to Ireland one day in the future, maybe a couple years from now, maybe, who knows, maybe a year from now, 2 years from now. But so I have like little, Ireland 2.0 fund, and I just, if it's like $5, $10, if I get a bonus and I put like more in when I get a bonus, but my big thing right now though, my focus, I think reassessing my budget and seeing this higher number and kind of getting like, oh my gosh, I've really got to like pull my cards right, I think in a way that actually was good for me because it has me so focused on saving. Like, I actually not that I didn't take pleasure in saving money before, because I did save money, but the part of my brain that takes pleasure in saving money is like regenerated, you know what I mean? So and again, I'm putting money down, with like closing and stuff like that. And actual moving, I have been pretty, I'm gonna use the word blessed. I don't want to sound like the Facebook mom or whatever when I say that. Not that there's anything wrong with I love the Facebook mom, actually. I'm not trying to sound like that because I know people are like, Sam, are you like, but I have been very blessed with, with moving. I have people who are going to help me, and it's actually, I'm not going to have to hire movers. I may rent like a truck or something, possibly. I'm still kind of sorting all that out, but I have people to help me, and I have more people to help me than I originally thought. So I feel, because I mentioned before, this whole process, moving and buying a house, even if it's a good thing, even if it's something that you've been wanting and planning for a while, it can still really shake you up. You know what I mean? And I'm going through a lot of that now. You know, some of it is, a lot of it has been sadness. You know, a lot of it is like sadness. Like, um, you know, I think just thinking, living in this place, knowing that I'm gonna move, it's like part of me, things that I would once take comfort in, I try to like not fully let myself take as much comfort in it anymore because I'm like, oh, it's gonna go away, and it's sad. Like it's you know. Anyway, I don't want to ignore it, but I don't want to like wallow in it because what makes me feel better is thinking about the good to come. That's what makes me happy. So for the second part of this video, I want to talk about that, but I just want to kind of get this off my chest now, you know what I mean? Because I've talked about it, and I've talked about feeling sad and alone, and a lot of it does stem, I don't want to regurgitate the last video, but a lot of it does stem from my father not being here. You know, I think if my father was here and he said, Sam, you're doing the right thing, I'm proud of you, I've been crying like every day. Not that that's like even unusual for me, honestly, like, you know, moving or not moving, but I think if I had that, that would just like, I don't, you know what? I was going to say, I don't think I realized how valuable that was when I had it, but I actually think I did. I think I knew how valuable that was when I had it. You know, sometimes they say you don't know what you have until it's gone. Well, I think even then I knew what I had, and having his voice saying, Sam, Sam, this is a really cool place that you're going to. There's going to be so much here for you. I'm so excited about, you know, what you're going to do, what your life is going to be like. You know, you're definitely making the right choice. You know, I could go on and on, but having that would ease like 90% of the pain, probably. You know what I mean? And I do have people in my life who have said that to me, you know, and that does help. You know, that does help, but it's just, I didn't realize it would be this sad. I genuinely did not realize it would be this sad. Um, and it comes in waves. Sometimes I'm excited, and sometimes I get very down. And the sadness runs deep, like deeper than what I'm showing in this video. And I wanted to talk about it for a few reasons, because I want to share my life, and this is a huge part of what's going on in my life right now. And it was kind of one of those things that it's unpleasant, so I kind of don't want to put it out there, but it's what's going on with me. You know what I mean? I mean, I could get on here and be like, oh yeah, I'm happy. Oh, you know, oh yeah, I get through it. You know, it was a little sad, no big deal, but that's not the case. It is, you know, it's a grieving process, and I want to talk about that because, you know, also, if anyone is going through that, like, I just want you to know that, like, you know, that is a thing. Like, you're not alone, and I do think that that is part of the process. And then the good thing is, the next part of the process is, you know, you got to adjust, but then you will start to feel like home in your new home. Like, I was talking with a few people, and a friend of mine, he even, you know, he's older than me, and he's moved a lot more than I have. But I was over at a couple friends' house earlier this week, and I was talking to them, a couple, you know, husband and wife, and um, yeah, the husband, he was saying, he was like, yeah, well, even the wife was saying it was sad, but he was saying, yeah, it is sad at first, you know, it is, and because he was talking about how he moved from a house where him and his wife, they put a lot into it, like they redid a lot. I think it was like maybe their first home together, and they did a lot to it, you know what I mean? Like, they made it their own. Like, you know, I'm renting, so I can only make it my own, like, so much, you know what I mean? But um you know, they like remodeled and redid things, and he's like, yeah, that was sad, you know, that was sad. But he's like, you know, then you get into the new place and you're like, okay, this is nicer, you know what I mean? So it kind of like gets replaced in a way. I heard somewhere that energy is never created or destroyed. So, and I've heard that, I mean, I've heard that before, but I heard it again, you know, kind of recently or something similar to that. And I think that's true. You know, I think like in order to get over one thing, you kind of have to have something to replace it. You know what I mean? And I think right now I'm in limbo, you know what I mean? I don't have the replacement yet. You know, I don't have the new home yet. I mean, soon I will, but like physically I'm not in it. Um, and then even when I'm in it, you know, I am kind of preparing myself like, okay, Sam, you know, you're going to have to adjust. There might be an adjustment period. Like one thing that I want to do is I'm not going to be able to get every piece of furniture that I want to get right away. Just budget reasons. I'm budgeting things out. I don't want to stress myself financially any more than I already have. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, if it's a little empty for a little bit, then you know, that's okay. But not that I'm even planning on getting that much furniture. I want to get a boneless couch, a boneless sofa. Those are not super expensive. They're like $500-600, you know, depending on the brand. And I kind of want to get a bigger one. Those are usually a little bit more like 6, 7, 800. But I mean, compared to like um a $4,000 couch, you know, that's a lot better. But anyway, and then I want to get maybe a couple of nice area rugs too, you know, like big, like oversized or like, you know, big area rugs because I love the laminate vinyl plank flooring, but I think having an area rug with it is just, you know, so you can like put your feet on it and, you know, you still have like the benefits of, I don't like carpet. Like one thing is like, I'm like, okay, I don't want carpet anymore at all. I know some people like carpet. I have carpet now, but I don't like carpet. I'm like, I like hardwood or laminate, you know, laminate vinyl plank or whatnot. I like kind of that, but you know, it is still nice to like walk your feet on like a nice rug and kind of have the softness and stuff like that. And even stuff like I don't know if I'll have to wear I always wear I'm barefoot in my house in certain areas. Like I like my bedroom area. I have rugs around like my own area rugs that I've purchased, you know what I mean? And I'll walk barefoot on those because like they're mine or they're like new to me. But I don't walk barefoot on like the carpet or the like, you know, I just don't because I had this in my last apartment. I don't know, I just kind of like I don't know, it kind of maybe I'm like OCD, you know what I mean? I don't know. I could probably go in and like explain that more, but I'm like, I think I would walk barefoot on the laminate vinyl plank like without any shoes. But then I think it would be nice to also have like some rugs, like some, you know, just like nice area rugs and like hallway rugs and stuff like that. Like I think that's what's going to make it feel my own. And I do have some that I am planning on bringing with me, but I feel like I'm probably going to want to get one or two more, maybe potentially. You know, I'll see. You know, you get it. I'm kind of going in with a plan, but then I'm also going in there, and once I get in there, you know, I'll feel like I'll kind of know more. You know, once I'm in. But why did I talk about that? But just yeah, planning stuff like that, and just like putting that. Like, I want to hang pictures on the wall pretty much right away. Like in my bedroom, I kind of already have a pretty good idea of the pictures I want to hang and where I want to hang them. And I want to do that like right away, like first night, you know what I mean? Like I know you're not necessarily going to get everything all done the first day, but like pictures, I think the wall art that I have makes a big difference. That's a lot of what makes my place feel home. And I think it's going to be important to have ties of familiarity, you know what I mean? I might have said that word kind of wrong or whatever, but another thing that was sad for me too is for a while because I am in like no spend mode, you know what I mean, just with moving and saving and all that. And I'm still gonna be very budgeted. Like I plan on being like very budgeted, and again, I'm gonna do a lot of videos on that, like eating on a budget, like sticking with a grocery budget. That's been kind of fun actually, you know. Anyway, but more on that in future videos. I know I keep twitching my eyes probably, but what was I just gonna say? Oh, I think another reason why I have been sad lately is because since I've been trying to eliminate the temptation to shop, you know what I mean? And I've been doing really good with it, like with not shopping and not even being like tempted, you know. But I had stopped watching a lot of YouTubers, not like because I didn't like them, but like a lot of YouTubers who I would watch are people who like shop a lot, you know what I mean? Like their channels are about shopping and what they buy and stuff. And I kind of thought, oh, I shouldn't watch that now. It's going to make me want to splurge and I just shouldn't do that. And I think I kind of missed that. You know what I mean? I think I kind of like miss that. So I have recently started watching some of those channels again, you know what I mean? And it hasn't reignited the shopping. It hasn't, well, I guess that's not true that it hasn't reignited. I haven't like, it hasn't reignited the overspending bug. Maybe that's a fair way to say it. You know, it's reignited the shopping bug, you know, in me in a good way, but I know you might be able to hear. I'll even miss things like that, like my neighbor's, I don't know if it's his motorcycle or car or whatnot, but you know, things that you didn't think you would miss, like I'm already missing. Not that I actually always kind of liked hearing like cars and stuff out there. It's I mean, I'll probably have that where I'm going to, but I did always like that. That's like one of the reasons why I wanted to move into a condo versus a house, because with condo it's, you know, even though I am introverted, you know, I say I'm introverted, I like having like people around or like other cars in the parking lot. You know what I mean? Like I could live on a busy road and probably feel okay just, you know, being kind of surrounded by people and like the hustle and bustle. I feel like I would do good in New York, honestly. And I've been to New York a couple times, and I feel like not that I'm looking to move to New York, because, you know, this has been sad enough to move like just across the town. I'm not moving like that far away, you know what I mean? But, you know, still it's like, you know, 15, 20 minutes away. But little things like that, you know what I mean? Even my gross laundromat, like my apartment has, I don't want to call it gross, but if you saw it, you'd be like, okay, Sam, are you sure you want to do your laundry in there? You know, but I'm not knocking it. But like, even like my laundromat, which, I mean, someone left like a thing of like macaroni and cheese out in there for like weeks or whatever, like a Tupperware thing. And, you know, there's like, it's not the cleanest. I'm not knocking it. I'm not knocking anything, you know, but even like things where, even like things that aren't necessarily nice, they're still familiar. You still have a routine, and it's like I do miss that. You know what I mean? Like I miss it already. So it's been sad. It has been unexpectedly sad. I've been grieving actually, and again, yeah. I've been like an emotional mess actually, and one thing that I did read, you know, just because you're feeling this way before a big change, it doesn't mean that the change is bad, or that you're making a mistake, or that, you know, it's your brain, your body, your nervous system just has to get used to it. Because right now, you know, I'm so used to this, and this is the longest. This makes me so sad when I say it. I almost don't even want to say it, but 14 years I've lived here. 14 years. That is the longest I've lived anywhere in my entire life up until now. 14 years. That hits me in my gut when I say that, you know, but even though I'm going somewhere good, that's why I just, you know, I told people, you know, I told my sister and her fiance and other people who now are helping me move. That's like when I was telling people, I'm like, okay, once I close, I want to move as soon as possible after I close. I want to, because the longer I stay here, I feel like some people might say, oh, Sam, if you're sad, don't you want to stay longer? I need to rip the Band-Aid off, because right now the Band-Aid is like, it's like torture. You know what I mean? I need to start the adjustment process as soon as possible, because it's, you know, it's kind of like, not that I've ever experienced this or that I would really know all the ins and outs of what this is like, but it's kind of like a couple, like maybe who's going through a divorce, but they're still living together. You know what I mean? Like that would be, I feel like it's one thing to go through a divorce when you know, like you don't live together, but then to see each other every day, you know, that could be like, you know, I can't even imagine. So I feel like it's, you know, it's been tough. It's been like, I'm not doing it justice as much as I'm telling you in this video, but you know, again, I don't want to just get on and just be an emotional mess, which I have been for the past, like, you know, the past few weeks. And it didn't hit me right away. That's the thing, because there's an excitement stage. There's an excitement stage. I kind of feel like I am, and it comes in waves, like I said earlier, but I feel like I'm entering in the adjustment stage, you know? Even though I'm not moved in, I'm like planning, I'm in my mind, I'm like thinking, okay, once I'm there, you know, I can do this, I can do that. That's what helps me. That's when I start to feel happy and excited and joyful again. And, you know, but it comes in waves. It's this, there's a panic and grief stage, and that didn't hit me. Ow. The excitement stage is there, and then those stages come later. Like once, they come later on, and it's been emotionally very tough. I know that sounds probably like such a pansy statement, but I'm not even ashamed that I am so emotional. Like I used to be ashamed of it, but I'm not. Like I'm just not. Like I'm not like a I am a sensitive person actually, but like I'm not sensitive in like, oh, if someone calls me stupid, it's gonna hurt my feelings. Like I do, I like someone even like I even got like a comment kind of recently. I didn't even, I don't know, it was like kind of a off comment. Like I don't even fully know what they're meaning or whatever, but like some things do roll off my back. Like I feel like you might hear me say, oh, I'm so emotional and crying all the time. You might think I'm very sensitive to things like, people being mean or whatever. Maybe sometimes I am actually. Heck, maybe sometimes I am, but not like necessarily all the time. You know what I mean? Like not. Anyway, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a total snowflake. Like I'm not like I'm not like if I am sad, it is for like a real legitimate reason. Anyway, now I'm getting like, but no, I'm a very intense person emotionally, and I mean that's intense with all emotions. Like a lot of them I don't show. Like even anger, I don't. A lot of people are like, oh, I've never seen you get angry, but I mean, like you have, like genuinely you have no idea. Like you don't. People don't see that side of me. People don't see that side of me, and then when they do, they're like surprised, and I don't know. I had one friend recently who I'm very close with, he saw me. I don't know if he had ever seen me this angry before, as angry as I got like a few weeks ago, and he's like, that actually, he part of him was like, okay, well, I was kind of glad actually to see you like let some emotion out and not be so like, I don't know, agreeable or just I don't know, not be so like, not brain dead, but like brain dead sometimes. He's like, it was actually good to see that side of you, but then also it like kind of like scared me a little bit. You know what I mean? And so it's like but I feel like it can't just be me who is like that. I feel like that's human. You know what I mean? That's like every human on the planet. Unless someone is, like I know there's some people who maybe don't feel emotions, like psychopath or something. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's like a human thing, whether you show it or not. But I am a lot more intense emotionally than what I think people see. I think people might see bits and pieces, but it is intense, and it's both good and bad. It's like the dial, like the volume is like turned all the way up. So if I'm sad, I am sad. If I'm angry, I don't even want to think about being angry right now because I'm not, I don't want my mind to go there. But if but it's, but then if I'm happy, I'm really appreciative. You know what I mean? If I love someone, if I love you, I really love you. You know what I mean? Like, but it's a lot. It's a lot on me right now, just the sadness. And anyway, I was going to get my shower and come back and talk, and maybe I'll put the video clip of what I ate at the end of the video. I kind of feel like this video is going to be really long. I need to get a shower. I was going to film this after my shower, but I just kind of felt like filming it now. Even stuff like this, even this like little corner that I've sat in, even like when I film like over there and I have my bed in the backdrop, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm like, oh, I've probably, You know that like, it's so sad. I don't even want to say it, but it's like, you know, that thing where you said one time when you were a kid, you went outside and played with your friends and you didn't know it at the time, but that was like the last time. I'm thinking, okay, what was the last time that I filmed over there? And you know, I mean, I could probably look back at my videos and say, oh yeah, that video was the last one, you know, and there might have been a video too that I filmed over there and I just didn't post. So, I don't know, maybe we'll never fully know, but, I just think of things like that. It's been tough. It's been emotionally tough, but I'm starting to feel a little bit better now. It hit me really intense earlier tonight. Like I said, I went outside to get the mail. You know, it was like dark out at night, but I went outside to get the mail and I talked to my neighbor and I'm sad. I'm sad. I almost started crying like right in front of him, and I mean, it was like a good conversation, you know what I mean? And he's like, don't be sad. You got to get out of this place. And, the area, he's like, hyping it up. And truly, like, I don't think it was just lip service, but he's like, no, that area's a really, a nice area. And, you're going to be happy there. And, you know, I am looking forward though to YouTube once I'm in this new space. I think I'm really going to be able to dial in. It sounds so like dial in. That sounds so like, I don't know. But I think I'm really going to be able to dive in to doing more YouTube stuff than I have ever done before. I feel like you guys see me when I do YouTube. You see me, there's like 3 settings. There's like either this setting or a similar setting where I have my phone propped up there and I'm like, the bed's in the backdrop. Not that any of those are bad, or you see me, I'm parked in my car and doing a video in my car. I feel like you see me in those 3 settings. And one of my things for moving is I feel like, at this new place, you're going to be able to see me walk around. I still call it an apartment sometimes. Condo, apartment, I don't even know what the difference is. I used to think that condos you buy, apartments you rent, but I think technically you can buy an apartment and rent a condo. But anyway. But same concept, but you're going to see me in my new place. You're going to see me walk, I can take you around the house. Then I call it a house, even though it's a condo, but you know what I mean? I can like walk with you around the house. And I'm going to get a tripod. I'm planning to get like a full, like tall tripod, you know what I mean? Just because I feel like I'm going to be able to film without like fear of showing my house, you know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm going to be able to be a little bit more free with it, you know what I mean? And that was a big motivating thing. Like I'm going to be able to take you in the kitchen and be able to comfortably film a cooking video, you know what I mean? And I'll still probably do videos in a similar backdrop, like where I'm sitting on the edge of my bed or whatever. Like maybe I'll have to do some of that for old time's sake, you know what I mean? Maybe I'll even have, I don't know. I'm sure it'll be different. It'll be a different version, a different version of the same thing. I'll have to like make it make sense or whatever, but I feel like I'm going to share a lot more of my life on YouTube than I have before, and I'm thinking maybe I'll even, I don't know, I've been talking about personal things lately, but I might even get more and talk more about personal things, you know what I mean? Like things that I haven't really discussed before and I've always like steered away from them. Like maybe do I have my hair? Yeah, I do. Like maybe I'll like, maybe we'll see. I got to do what I feel is the next right thing or whatever, but I want to get a lot more in depth and a lot more less afraid to show my life, you know what I mean? And like when I do cooking videos, because I'm going to be doing some, I've done them before. I have done them before. It's always, again, it's not been like real conducive where I'm at now to do them, but I've done them the best I could with what I had. But I feel like in this new place, like, I'm going to do more of those. And I'm not claiming to be the chef extraordinaire, but I do want to show you guys, because a lot of you guys, actually, I've had a few people who have said, because I talk about toasted peanut butter and jelly, and how I make that a lot, and it's like my comfort food, I've had a few people who have like, Sam, I've tried it and I really like it, and I've been eating it lately, and I think that's so cool. You know what I mean? I've had people say that with similar stuff like throughout the years too, and that's like, it's like kind of cool to think that like something that for me is so um like such a regular part of my routine, and something that I don't even think about, you know what I mean, might be like something that someone hasn't really tried in that way. But I think that's like cool, because I think we all have things like that. Like if I watch what someone ate, I'm like, oh, I wouldn't think to eat that like that. Let me try it. You know what I mean? But like things like that, just to think that I could share something like little like that, and that other people would like try it and like it. You know, I'm like, that's like so cool. Like that actually, that genuinely makes me so happy. Like that just makes me happy. You know, like uplifts my soul. You know what I mean? You might say, "Oh, Sam, you're making such a big deal about it," but like I said earlier, I am very intense emotionally, whether I am happy or sad or angry or whatever I am feeling. You know, the volume is dialed to the maximum level oftentimes. Um, whether you see it or not, sometimes I show it, sometimes I try to hide it, sometimes I try to hide it, but I show it, but I'm not showing it in the full capacity. And anyway, I think but I have been a lot more open lately, just with my life in general, which is in and on YouTube, and even with people. I have been a lot more open lately. Like I had a neighbor who, passed away, and I had learned that he passed away, and I'm just like, I don't even care if I cry in front of someone. Like that's sad, you know? It's sad. I don't know if I told you about that or not, but this will be like the last thing that I'll say, and then I'll maybe show you a clip of another clip of one of my toasted peanut butter and jelly sandwiches that I had. And I'm gonna the clip that I'm gonna show, I had it with ramen noodles, which that's like my tried and true. You know, whether I'm spending, whether I'm spending like I think I'm a millionaire, or whether I'm like, oh, I need to save money, I always go back to this meal no matter what, and I love that. I love something that you can just go back to, whatever budget, you just still want to go back to it. I love that I have something like that, you know. And anyway, but yeah, so I'll put that clip at the end of the video, but like maybe I'll tell the story because this kind of ties into a bag that I had recently purchased. So maybe I'll tell the story more in a different video, but basically I had a neighbor who I didn't know him super well, but he had kind of helped me with something. Well, I did mention in the video, I had a package that got delivered, but it got delivered to the wrong porch, you know what I mean, like the wrong apartment, and I couldn't find it, and he was helping me find it. Eventually, with his help, I did find it. So every time I see that bag, I think of him actually. So that's like actually very special. But anyway, this my neighbor, he's about my age. He was about my age. He's actually a little bit younger than me. I'm 38. He was 34. He lived with his dad, and I know his dad too. I like his dad. I get along with his dad. His dad drives a Camaro, and his dad this might sound, someone's gonna say, oh, he sounds like a douchebag. No, he's not. But he used to take up like 2 spaces with the Camaro, but I liked that he did that because I would park my car in the space next to the half space that he took. So I always felt like I had more room on that side. And so I told him one day, I'm like, I actually really like how you park, because I park like next to you and then I have more room. So I'm not worried about someone dinging like this side of my car. So I really actually appreciate that. And he's a cool guy. He's a very cool person, actually. I don't know either of them super well, but I know them well enough to know that, they're good-hearted people. But um, I think the dad may have lived here, and then the son may have moved in like years later or whatever. But anyway, I kind of got to know the son a little bit when he was helping me look for my backpack, and eventually I found it, the one that got dropped off at the wrong door. And we were walking around and talking, and I remember after the fact, like after it was all done, I thought, I really appreciate that he helped me. I just remember being so like grateful that, just it was a little thing, but it meant the world. And little things to me can mean the world. Like honestly, like little things can just mean the world to me. Like I said, again, the tense emotion dialed up, whatever. But um and I remember after the fact, I just thought, that's so cool. That's such a nice thing. I really appreciate that. Like, I thought about that, and I really just, it like warmed my soul, you know what I mean? Because I do feel very alone in this world oftentimes, which that ties into this whole sadness too. That's a whole nother, we haven't even gone there. I mean, I've talked about it a little bit before, but um, it made me feel a little less alone, you know what I mean? And um so I kind of like, it was kind of like something to kind of get me through some sad moments, you know what I mean? Little things can make a big difference. And I was like thinking about that, and I would see the backpack and I would like think about him and how he helped me, and it was just a nice warm feeling, And one day a few weeks ago, his dad came to my door, knocked on my door, and I thought, oh gosh, I thought maybe someone hit my car or something, and as soon as he said, my son, like as soon as he said that, I knew. And I think I started crying like right then and there. Like I gave him a hug. I don't even know. I'm usually not a big hugger, but I've been like hugging people lately. I know that's like, but I'm just like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I mean, I was it's so sad, it's hard. He said that his son, he wasn't, I don't want to tell I'll say that, well, because it's like anonymous, you know what I mean? I don't want to give people's business away, but anonymously, he said that, yeah, my son was, he said, yeah, he died on Thursday, and which is wild because I remember the ambulance coming on Thursday, and I just got such a gut-wrenching feeling. I thought, I didn't know it was for him at the time, but I thought someone's life has just been changed, and for a sad reason. Like, it was it was tough to, I don't know, it was just kind of a heavy feeling, and anyway, and so then he came to my door. I think it was like that following week. I think it was on the Tuesday after or something like that, and he said, yeah, my son, he said, well, he died. And he said, he didn't have any health issues or anything. He said that he was feeling sick on, he passed on a Thursday, and he said he was feeling sick on Tuesday. He's like, but I didn't think nothing of it, and people get sick all the time, you know what I mean? And he's like, I didn't think nothing of it. It wasn't like anything that seemed major. And, he said he was sick Thursday or sick Tuesday, I think sick Wednesday. He thought, well, if he's not better in a day or so, I'll take him to the hospital, but it wasn't like a concerning thing. People get sick all the time, right? And he said, I got home from work one day and he was gone. He was, so I don't know, that hit me pretty hard, you know what I mean? And I was telling a friend about that, and he's like, why does that shouldn't impact you that much, you know what I mean? That it wasn't someone who you knew very well. It was, that happens, that's life, but honestly, that hit me pretty hard. I mean, I think I am extra sensitive to that kind of stuff, which extra sensitive is not always a bad thing, but like, because my both of my parents passed. I mean, I've had a good amount of people in my life pass, like, kind of earlier on, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like to have both your parents die by the time you're 33 is tough, you know what I mean? And which I know that, I mean, some people don't have parents or don't know who their parents, don't know who their parents are, or, their parents died before they at much, like, I know that there's younger ages too, but it's like, I think maybe if you can say it like this, like the good thing about pain, or like the silver lining, if you can say it like that, is like I am so much more sensitive to other people who have gone through something like that. Like, my heart just goes out to so many people because And it's different for all of us, but it's like I understand what it's like. I know what it's like through my lens, and even though it is different for all of us, there are common elements. And anyway, all right, I didn't mean for this video to be a total downer. Again, I was going to get a shower and come back and talk about good things and how I'm excited to do certain kinds of videos, you know. But I think I'll put on my clip of what I ate, and then I will end this video here. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Sorry, I'm like, my throat is dry from talking for so much. Now, thank you guys for watching. Not that I won't do videos like this when I'm in my new place, you know, because I think I will, you know, I think I will. I mean, I don't want to be sad all the time. I don't want to be sad, but I do, even if it's not sad, I do like having these real talks with you guys, you know, so it's like real talk, you know what I mean? Like, hopefully we can pivot from being like, you know, full of sadness and grief or whatever, but I do want to keep having like these real talks with you. But there's going to be a lot more happiness too, you know what I mean? There's going to be me doing grocery hauls, and again, a lot of it's budget. Like I may even go to the Dollar Tree and haul that, because I used to go there all the time, but I have not been to the Dollar Tree in literally years. I mean, I've been there since they've put things at $1.25. And I've been there when they had like the little they had like the couple rows where they had like things that were ranged from like, you know, $2, $5 or whatever. So I've been there like for that, but I've not been there for years. But I was watching a video, I've been watching like budget videos and budget cooking videos. And again, that has been surprisingly fun. There is so much you can do, even if you are sticking with a small budget. There's still such an abundance of things that you can do. It like amazes me. There's like, it's like you know how like you open a folder, there's a folder within a folder within a folder. There's like so much of that kind of energy, and I want to dive into that, you know what I mean? And I want to show that on my channel. And so anyway, I say that because, you know, one of the channels that I've been watching when I was taking a break from watching my shopping people, I found a new person. You know, I'm now going back to my shopping people too. You know, I'm like, okay, I'm still part of the shopping club, you know, still, you know, intentional shopping. But a lot of people who, I know I'm bouncing all over the place. I know my eyes are twitching too. A lot of people not that I would say I was in the luxe community, or that I am or was. Like, I feel like I'm like aspirational too. Like, that's kind of how I feel. But like, I would be more in like the contemporary, you know, like Coach and like Diesel, and there's more to things like that, kind of the mid-range, you know. That's kind of been my playground, you know what I mean? And like TJ Maxx and Marshalls, of course. But a lot of people who I watch who are into shopping, you know, whether it's like luxury or contemporary or a mix of both or whatever, are almost, it's like we're all kind of going through a similar thing. There's like a community thing or something in the air where we are just like, we still like, I say we, like I'm part of this, you know, like, I don't know, that's like me trying to flatter myself, but it's like we collectively as people who like to shop are a lot of what I've seen. It's like we're going through this like change where we're not just being as frivolous, we are being more mindful of the prices, and we are being more respectful to not just spend like, not, you know, respectful to our money, you know what I mean? And it's kind of funny because I'm going through that kind of organically. I mean, moving and buying a house obviously will kick that into high gear, you know what I mean? But like, I'm kind of going through that organically, and like, I feel like we're all kind of somewhat in that same bucket, you know what I mean? So like, that feels kind of good, because I feel like, you know, even though it's changed for me a little bit, you know, I'm still in it. I still like shopping. I still all that. I still get to have that as part of my life. But like, even like one person who I watch, Deb from Wild Unfiltered. I watch a lot of people, and she's one of them. I like her. She, even a while ago, she's like, okay, I don't want to put words in her mouth, but she was not spending. She's like, she was like buying in like luxury, like, Chanel, Louis Vuitton, Hermes, she was like top designer luxury. She's like, okay, I don't know how she phrased it, and I don't want to put, misquote her or anything, but she was taking a break from shopping. She said she had a reason. I don't think she got into the reason. She may have since got into the reason, because I had kind of taken a break from watching videos for a while, and I'm not like fully caught up or whatever. She may have since said the reason, but her channel was about shopping and luxury, and she's like, okay, I'm not going to buy bags for the foreseeable future. I'm not going to be anyway. So I just kind of feel like I'm in good company in a way, and that feels good. It helps me feel less alone, actually. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, just the whole thing, the whole shopping community, that we're all in like let's slow down. We still like to shop, but let's maybe intentional is like my word. Maybe that's like the word that I use a lot. I'm like, okay, let me just be intentional. Like I literally have a section in my checkbook app where it's called Bag Fund, and I, little by little, like $10, $20, whatever, I'll put a little in, little by little, so that it's not out of my like running weekly budget, where then if I'm somewhere, a coach does a new drop and I say, okay, how much, once I have like maybe $300-400 in that bag fund or whatever, I can spend it, and I won't feel guilty about it. I won't feel like I've overspent. I can be like, okay, Sam, is this worth using your bag fund to buy this new drop bag from Coach? Yeah, I think it is. Or if there's like maybe, I love outlet bags, don't get me wrong. I have a lot of outlet bags and I like them, but like if there's like a Coach outlet bag and it's like $100, and maybe I'm not like goo goo gaga over it, but I'm like, I like it. Would that be fun to have? Maybe. Well, let me try it. I'm going to be more intentional. Like, Sam, okay, you only have $100 in your bag fund. Would you rather blow it on that, or would you rather keep it in longer and maybe get like keep it in and build more funds up and get like a retail bag for $400 or whatever? Not that it's not necessarily about the price point, you know what I mean? But like, I'm kind of in more of that mode, you know what I mean? Or like if I'm at TJ Maxx and I see a shirt that is $10, I'm like, oh, that's nice, I like it. Yeah. If I only have $50 in my shopping fund for TJ Maxx, I'm going to be like, is it worth the $10 out of the $50? Because then I'll only have 40. And if it's going to push me into that like more, and maybe it would be, that's the thing. Maybe it would be, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, finding a $10 shirt that I love at TJ Maxx is kind of the name of the game. So I'm not knocking a $10 shirt at all. You know what I mean? But it's like, they say if it's not a heck yes, it's a heck no. I'm like, this is going to has gotten me a lot more clear. Okay, what is my heck yes? I even have an eating out fund, and I have an eating out fund, which I'm also going to do. I'm trying to think if I should do like a separate like coffee fund, like getting coffee out. If I do coffee at home, that's part of my grocery fund, but my grocery budget. But I'm like, if I get coffee out, I don't know. I've put a lot more buckets on my list recently. I've had buckets before, but I've added a lot more recently. So, I am kind of sorting things out, but I'm like, maybe I should do a separate Starbucks coffee fund. You know what I mean? Versus just eating out. Because when I think of eating out, I think of like going to a dinner or something, you know what I mean? And I mean, even just somewhere at like Applebee's or whatever, for me, that's like a nice dinner, Anyway, all right, well, I will put a clip at the end of this video. This video went way over what I thought, but I feel like we had a good talk, and I feel like I am so excited for you guys to come along with me when I move. Honestly, a lot of what is getting me through this sadness is you guys, and thinking about, okay, I'm going to be able to share with my friends on YouTube. And I actually do mean that when I say friends. I think of you guys like, I'm going to start crying. I really do. Like, I really do. Someone might say, Sam, you're getting too emotional about, about this, but it's how I feel. It is how I feel. I feel like you guys are my friends, and I am glad to have you in my life. And life is so lonely, and having people there makes a big difference. So I appreciate that, and yeah, but that's another thing that's really helped me get through. I'm like, okay, I can show them. I'm going to be able to feel comfortable showing a lot more of my life now. And I have so many video ideas that I'm so excited to show you guys once we get to the new place. You know, I'm just, that's really a big part of what's getting me through this, through this sadness. You know, I know I'm talking about it like it's some sad thing, you know, and it's a happy thing. It is a happy thing, you know, moving, but there's a sadness that comes with it, which I did not expect, but it's part of the process. So I'm ready to get through the sadness and get on to the joy. So anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Adios.
Hey everyone, so I thought I would try to show this in a little better light, but this is one of my favorite all-time meals. I've shown a similar meal to it, but this is kind of my tried and true, just no matter, and I mentioned this in an earlier video, but no matter how much I am spending on groceries, whether I'm just getting whatever just because it's pretty, or whether I'm really trying to, like, you know, be smart and budget and be intentional, I always go back to this. I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. I always go back to this one meal. It is just one of my favorite things. So it is a toasted peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I showed that in an earlier video. So same thing there, toasted peanut butter and jelly, and then ramen noodles. And then I have doctored it up a little bit. I don't know if you can tell or not, but it has white beans, chia seeds, and some sharp white cheddar cheese. So that is my tried and true